Right now, we're going to be doing our focus pose on the variations of lunges, which actually turn into warrior poses later on, warrior pose 1 in particular. So Vanessa, the lovely Vanessa, is going to start off on her hands and knees. Again, her hands are shoulder distance apart, outer shoulder distance apart, creases of the wrist parallel to the front of the mat. If you hear that often enough, it will become a mantra in your own head, and it becomes a healthy way to your practice. Now, with her arms straight and strong and her heart soft and gentle and her intention set into the heart that she wants to align to her breath, she wants her body to blossom open. We don't want to force ourselves into these poses, especially because sometimes they're very, very tight for some people. Now, toes are tucked already, legs are strong, and she's going to start off in this pose in down dog, which if you need any tips on down dog, you can look into one of the other focus poses that we did earlier. Down dog, you can see her feet are hip distance apart. Now, let's say your hips are really wide. When we say hip distance apart, we're going to mean inner hip distance apart. These are the iliac crest, or the bones of your hips. That's how far your feet basically will be apart, unless you have some issues that you need to separate them further. So as she's here, she's going to bring her right foot forward right next to her right hand, and she's going to line up her right ankle directly under the right knee. Okay, the tendency is often to leave the foot too far back or in front of the knee, and this isn't safe for the knee. So this is why we're really particularly working right now on this particular alignment, aligning physical alignment, but as well right now is aligning with your breath. Ankle is under the knee. The 4 corners of the front foot are really pressing down. The 2 corners of the back foot are pressing down. But the heel, instead of going backwards, we keep it right above the ball of the foot. And for some people, this is a big stretch. Now, as she exhales, she lowers the back knee, the left knee, and pauses. This is a low lunge. In this pose, we're going to tuck the toes under. Tuck the toes under this way, because tucking the toes under is a little bit more stable, gives you a little bit more power in your pose so that you can create a lot more energy and gather it and distribute it. So now let's do it in a way that is less efficient right now. Push gently your back thigh bone downwards. Now you might feel this is a big stretch, and it is, but it's not a healthy stretch, because the thigh bone is connected to a muscle which connects your thigh bone to your hip to your lower back. When you push your thigh down like this far, you're taking that muscle here in the lower back and you're pulling it out of alignment, and you're not giving yourself a very good experience in your practice. So instead, push the back knee down isometrically, but pull the back thigh bone up. There you go. And that'll help you square off the hips a little bit more. Keep that action. The action here is to stabilize, to create a deeper connection. So as you push the left knee down and isometrically forward, the left thigh bone goes up and into its socket. Good. Bring your hands to your hips as you inhale and pause. Now when you bring your hands to your hips, your right knee should stay over the right ankle, and you may need to adjust your pose possibly and bring the back knee slightly forward. Good. This is a low lunge with the hands on the hips now, which will turn into another pose called Anjaneyasana, which is a variation of a lunge or a variation of a warrior 1 pose. So right now, as she pulls her right foot isometrically back and her left knee isometrically forward, you can see perhaps that the hips met in the middle. With her abdominal core in and the next inhalation, she's going to plug the arms in and lift them up to the sky. A very beautiful pose. But most important than the fancy, beautiful pose is to stay stable and in alignment to your breathing and supporting your joints, your muscles, your bones, and just being steady. Take a full breath in, pull your legs towards each other, squeeze your hips towards each other, bring your tummy muscles in, stretch your spine long, and with your exhalation, gently bring the hands back to the floor and step to down dog, and we'll switch the leg just to watch on the other side. You'll notice again her feet are hip distance apart, inner hip distance apart. So when she walks now her left foot forward, do it in an incorrect way, like if you didn't have enough space, bring your left foot up to here. What happens if you can't take your foot further forward than this? Well, what would you do? You would take your left hand and move the foot upwards until the ankle's under the knee. You find that your feet are hip distance apart, even though one's in front, one's in back. You find the four corners of each foot in your frame of consciousness, and with your exhalation, lower the right knee down. Good. Pull the right knee isometrically forward to pull the right hip forward. Pull the left foot isometrically backwards to bring the left hip backwards. Good job. Now as you breathe, with your breath, now push out through both legs. Lengthen out through the spine. Soften your heart. And then with that stability and that fluidity of the spine, bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, lift to torso. You'll notice that she's not moving the angle of her legs. So the low lunge is just that, a low lunge. Pulling your right knee isometrically forward, square your hips. Bring your tummy muscles in, and as you breathe at your own pace, lift the arms. Offer that heart, offer that light back into the world. Breathing with your inhalation, pull the legs towards each other. With your exhalation, push out through the feet. Take another breath in and out. And with your next exhale, lower the hands to the floor. Down dog. And a breath so that Vanessa can take a little moment to assimilate really what that pose is doing to the body, working on the hips, working on the extension of the back thigh, strengthening the front thigh, lengthening the spine. And exhale, come onto your knees for one breath. That's the low lunge. We're going to move to the high lunge, which is a little bit more demanding because you're just on these poor 5 little toes on the back foot, and balance is really easy to lose here. So inhale when you're ready to down dog. Soften your heart. Extend out through your heart, up through your hips, just like we did in our regular down dog. Really take a full stretch in and out. Ooh, that looks pretty. And with your inhale, bring your right foot forward. Press your right hand down, by the way. And right foot forward. Ankle under its knee. Back foot. The heel is above the ball of the foot. Now, this is another tricky pose because the back thigh wants to push downwards because it feels like a stretch, but it's not a healthy stretch right now. This is very nice right now. I'm going to just increase a little bit more. This I would like to ask to drag the left foot isometrically forward and lift the left thigh bone up so that the hips square. Good. You feel steady? And you'll notice from side to side that the feet are still inner hip distance apart. You never line them up in this pose like as if you were on a tightrope. So they're that wide. Now pulling the feet towards each other, this looks fantastic. Bring the hands to the hips. Keep lengthening forward over your front leg still. Pull your legs towards each other. Squeeze them from front to back and back to front and from right to left and left to right. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of stability. Now soften it with your breath. And as you bring your tummy muscles in, plug your arms in, lift the arms up. This pose is often called, almost always called crescent pose, but really it's a variation of Virabhadrasana 1 or Warrior 1. And you'll see why. This is a beautiful pose. Hips are squared, legs are strong, heart is soft. Exhale, hands to floor. Step it back. Take a breath. Let that assimilation, that pose, the strength of each pose that you do is opening you. And when you open, what are you letting go? What are you bringing back in? So we use down dog kind of like a sorbet between courses, right? It lets you change the palate. Let's do left leg forward, high lunge. And she's really conscious. She's looking at her feet, making them hip distance apart. She's pulling the power as the left foot drags isometrically back, the left hip goes back, the right foot pulls forward isometrically, keep the heel over the ball of the foot. Good. And the hips squared as you lift the inner right thigh towards the sky. Good job. Now, take your left hip back just a little bit more. There you go. Bring your hands to your hips. Bring the tummy muscles in as you extend out through your feet, lift up through your spine. With your arms, without your arms, you see what's appropriate for your body. How do you align to where you are right now? If your body needs not to work on balance but needs to stay low, or it needs not to take the arms up but keep them here, these poses turn into all sorts of beautiful other shapes. But really, what are you pouring into the shape is your own heart, is your own light. The form is just a form. It's what you place into it. With your exhalation, bring your hands down. Move back to down dog for one breath. Take a pause, lengthen the spine. Pour your heart down into your hands, especially your right hand. Keep it down and flat. Exhale, come onto your knees for a breath. Soften your heart. Good. The last pose we're going to do while Vanessa's resting is called the Warrior One pose, the full pose. And it will have the same alignment, but the back foot will be flat. Okay? When you're ready, inhale to down dog. And again, our down dog is changing the palette for the next pose. Right leg forward, place it right ankle under the right knee. Now, check out her feet for just a moment. They're still inner hip distance apart. When she lowers that left heel to the floor, it has to land where the left toes are. So go ahead and place your left heel down. And the foot is turned more forward than outwards. If you looked at a clock, it would be like an 11 o'clock, so turn the toes slightly more forward. Good. And hyperextension, so bend that slightly. Good. Now, four corners of the feet on both feet are pressing down. With your inner left foot, you want to press that down and move your inner left thigh back, up and back. Good job. There you see how that just lifted your thigh bone. With your outer hip now, you extend into the outer foot. So now you've got a really stable back leg, because this is a warrior pose. A warrior, as you can tell, with a warrior needs to be powerful and strong. Now with the legs powerful, the legs draw towards each other like our lunges, front to back, side to side, hands to hips. Full breath in, her legs are powerful. She really looks powerful. Now plug the arms in, bring the tummy muscles in and lengthen it up. Beautiful pose. Take another breath in and out. You can get tired in this pose. The front thigh, I'd like to ask to bring that thigh so it's parallel to the floor, which is a lot of work. Again, we're taking the right thigh bone into the back of the socket so that big muscle, the psoas, stays connected and into the place where it belongs, where it keeps you more safe and healthy. Exhale, hands to floor, down dog, please. Full breath in and out. Lift the arm bones upwards towards the sky, upwards. Nice job. Now lift your hips out of the heart, and from your heart push into your hands. Keep lifting your arm bones. Beautiful. Good. Left leg forward, please. Always looking for that right angle on the front leg. Ankle right under the knee. Four corners of the foot pressing down. Notice the back foot now where the toes are. She's going to place her heel, and if you were looking at a clock, it would be like 2 o'clock. Inner edge of the foot presses down, inner right thigh moves back and up. Then from your outer right hip, extend into your outer right foot. Good job. Pull your feet towards each other, get solid, get stable. Stabilize your breath. You might leave your pose here. You might say, I'm not ready to lift the chest yet. But as you are ready, pull the legs towards each other, square the hips, and tummy muscles in, lift the spine, lift the arms at your own pace. Let's go where your body feels it needs to be. If it needs to slow down, go ahead, lift your chest upward. And she takes the whole pose in. Now, if we were being a little bit more picky, just to keep this psoas safe, I would say let's bend this leg, get a right angle here, take this left thigh bone back, pull the right hip bone forward. Good job. Take another breath in, lift up, and exhale to the hands to the floor, down dog, please. Good, and take another breath in, down dog. And with your exhale, come to child's pose. Knees as wide as the mat, toes touching, pointing, arms extended forward. And settle down into your breath. Let that assimilate into your body.